I felt that I had to learn how to make a picture faster, cheaper, and still have the energy in the film. In fact, go further with a certain kind of camera move and cutting and this sort of thing. And I first met Michael Ballhaus in had gone through a series of films up to about 1981, up to King of Comedy, and sort of the bottom fell out of everything after that. But I did meet Michael when we were preparing The Last Temptation of Christ in 1983, and I'd seen his Fassbinder films that he had shot, and I wanted a sense of freedom with the camera again, and freedom with light. In a sense, I felt that with the bigger productions from as it's not the directors of photography's issue. This had to do with how a film is made, the amount of people, the amount of equipment. I wanted to get something trimmer and faster, you know. And so I felt I should go back to independent style filmmaking, and I saw the Fassbinder pictures, and then followed up on that with meeting Michael, and we were going to make Last Temptation. But by the end of the year, the film fell through, and we were out in the diaspora, so to speak, out of Hollywood everywhere, and couldn't get a picture made. But finally, it was time to start all over again, I felt. And we stumbled upon, I think it was Amy Robinson and Griffin Dunn gave me the script of After Hours. And so I thought this was a good opportunity to try to learn how to make a picture again. And also a project, of course, that I really responded to because of the nature of the story in the character being out of his element and being in a place where he couldn't believe anyone or anything, and he's sort of trapped. And I thought that's the way I felt myself at the time. And so I called on Michael again there. And that's the first time we really had the ability to work together. We shot it in 40 nights, averaging about 25 to 26 setups a night. And so Michael would be on the set, and it was, you know, downtown somewhere in the old Soho, which at that time was really isolated at night. There was nobody there. And I'd get there, and I'd be kind of grumpy, concerned about getting everything done, proving to myself I can get something shot in a more efficient manner that still had everything I wanted. I'm not quite sure of this particular scene. And he would look at me and says, but tonight we do the shot that begins on the chair, tracks up, goes around the face, comes over to the telephone, goes to the jukebox. I said, oh, you're right. Yeah, that's something. So we don't do it first. No, of course not. We're going to do it a little later because I have certain lighting issues. Okay. But he gave me something to look forward to and brought back the excitement and the love of the process. You know, he said, look, we're going to have some fun tonight. I mean, and fun, I use that word fun for many different things. One could have fun at, say, well, we're going to have some fun, an ironic tone, of course. But it really was bringing back to me the energy and the excitement of filmmaking that he reinstilled in me. And I remind you, I had designed all these shots and drawings and diagrams, smaller storyboards, in a way, on the edge of the script rather than in bigger drawings. But Ballhaus studied them and made his own versions, transferred them to his script, and he studied the shots, studied the understanding, he tried to understand how the camera would move, the use of the lens, which lens, size lens, all sorts of things. And that's then transferred over to Last Temptation of Christ when we were shooting in Morocco. A very, very, very low budget film. The whole picture was designed on paper, mainly because that's the way I always design a film as much as possible, but even more so in that case because I knew that if I had the chance to make the picture, it was going to be a very low budget, and I had to shoot very quickly, so I had to know exactly what I wanted in terms of the framing, camera movements, editing, and that sort of thing. The first day of shooting, we knew it. We understood that it was going to be an arduous shoot. And after the second setup, where just trying to set up a tripod and the ground and things falling. And he looked at us and said, well, this is the way this film is going to be. Every movement we make, everything we set up is going to be hard to do. So just accept it now, which we did, and we worked as furiously as possible. And later on, too, at one point, things were so difficult, and I was so in despair about losing time and not getting the right amount of extras and this sort of thing. And I was just sitting there at one point, I think about 8 weeks into shooting, saying, well, I said, maybe I should have waited. Maybe I should have waited to have more money in the budget. Maybe I should have waited. Now, knowing I had waited 6 years, 7 years, to take the opportunity to make the film then at a very, very low budget. And he said to me, no. He said, this film has to be made this way. The arduousness, the physicality, and if one could term it, suffering that had to be done, that's the nature of this work, of this particular film. Not that any film is luxurious in that way, but this really became more than making a film. It became a life experience. And he was the one to point that out to me. We had one company move from Marrakesh to Marrakesh. We shot outside Marrakesh, a little village called Umran, about 25 minutes outside of Marrakesh. Then we had one company move to a city called Meknes, which gave a flavor of an urban center, suggesting Jerusalem, we thought. And so that was one big company move, and that meant it was, we couldn't afford a third. We had wanted to go to another place, Ouarzazate, but we couldn't do it. And so the only thing was that we found a quarry for the crucifixion that was really very, very good, we thought. And we wanted to keep the crucifixion for the end of the film, the shooting. But we had to shoot it in the middle and in order to take advantage of this location. And I had designed, and I remember very clearly, 75 shots. Whether they were notes or whether they were drawings, didn't matter. They were designed. Figured 25 shots a day, right? Now, it's a very hard scene to stage. But we were under such pressure, particularly because we were gone days over schedule and running out of money, that we had to make that move at that time. And I remember him and my AD and my producer sitting in a small room 5 days before shooting, or 4 days before shooting the crucifixion scene, and going through all the shots and saying, okay, instead of 3 days for these 75 shots, we have 2. So, what could we lose? And it became 50 shots, 25 and 25. And we got them all. And how he did that was referring back to something he did with Fassbinder, in particular a film called Beware the Holy Whore, where I think a few days into shooting, Fassbinder fired the lead actor and then took the role himself. And so they had to reshoot everything that they had shot for those 3 days in 1 day and night. And how they worked it out was timing it so that, for example, in the crucifixion scene, if the first shot, we would give 10 minutes. The fourth shot was a little more complicated, 15. If it goes to 17, we have to move on, accept what we have and move on. There was one shot where Willem Dafoe cries out, Father, Father, why have you forsaken me, I think, and the camera twists and turns. He said, that's 45 minutes. And that's how we did it. That's how we did it. We just literally, within that 10 minutes, I used to call it quality time, we'd be intent on getting what we needed to get. Or, if not, shooting an extra 2 takes, squeezing it in to figure out later certain elements of the different takes, which one I'll go with in the editing. That was a very logical and a very also passionate way of going about it, saying we're going to get it, but we'll have to combine these 75 shots into 50. And we'll have 25 setups a day or 26. We can do it. And the thing was like a commando group. We got there in the dark, and the moment light broke, we started shooting immediately. And it was like being in like a battle of some kind, very, very physical. He always made it clear to me about the value of what we were doing in that particular shot or that particular day, you know? And so what to go for, what to emphasize. What I mean is what to go for, what to, when I say go for, it means where to put the energy and what to look forward to. He was very clear about, in a case like that, he didn't really say this is the way this film has to be made, but he kept saying we will make it. I kept knowing that everything was being taken away or the script was being changed, and there were lots of production problems, but he would look at me and say, we're going to finish it. We're going to make it. And whether we did or not, ultimately doesn't matter, but it's how we got through each day of the skirmishes and the battles to make the picture.